My name is Udit Thakre. I'm a student in the MSc Psychology program at Sheffield Hallam University. I'm currently in the last stage of my master's degree, and I aspire to do a PhD that concerns social and work psychology. I'm particularly interested in the exploration of the passive-aggressive psychodynamics of English obsequiousness and how they are weaponized to silence women in workplaces by the means of mansplaining. So there is a very, very interesting statistic that came out in The Guardian earlier towards the end of 2019. The number of people who die as a consequence of terrorism, and if you look at the number of people who die as a consequence of domestic abuse and workplace violence, the difference is 15 times. 15 times more people die, mostly women, die as a consequence of domestic abuse than they die of terrorism. However, the government and its allocation of resources and funding is not in parallel with this at all. And what I would want to do to explore in my research is this problem of constant silencing of women in England and the means by which mansplaining does that. I want to explore it as a public health issue, because to me, if it is affecting so many people, it is a public health issue. To me, obsequiousness is a public health issue. Very often, people in England fail to recognize the nuance that exists between being polite, being well-mannered, and being obsequious. If you're well-mannered, it means that yes, you're prescribing to a socially established set of behaviors that make you acceptable. Whether they are productive or not, that is another conversation. If being polite is basically being completely and sincerely concerned about somebody else and what they might feel and what something might do to them. Obsequiousness, however, is it's the pathological end of the string, where politeness becomes an insincere and fake means to extract a desired behavior or a desired outcome. And this is very uniquely weaponized in workspaces, in homes, and that is what really piques my interest, especially because it is so insidious, because it is not something that you can just point and put a flashlight on. So, and that is what I would like to do.
And the links with mental health are quite, there's a really strong links with mental health, isn't there?
Absolutely. Goes without saying. Sociologically, if you're clear, you're kind. If you're unclear, if you're unkind. This is with relation to everything, with relation to your communication of what you want, what your desires are, so on and so forth. In any situation where there is an element of doubt, where there is an element of a gap of information, it will basically strain anyone and their mental health. So if in a relationship, if expectations are not communicated appropriately and clearly, it leads to strain on both ends, because essentially it is an insult to the intelligence of the person who the expectation is levied on. And hence, as a consequence of that, mental health dips, and it's a downward spiral that basically ends up encapsulating the perpetrator of the insult the person who is insulted, and everybody around them, friends, families, relatives, everyone. And it becomes an entire house of cards falling apart with literally one blow.
And what call of action would you make to the general public in this public health issue?
So there are movements in the world that are reclaiming a lot of things. Like for example, the Occupy movement, Occupy Wall Street, Occupy Oxford Circus. For me, if you really want to occupy something, we should occupy conversation and reclaim conversation. Honest, respectful, straightforward communication, which is perfectly possible without the need to be obsequious, without the need to, without the need to fawn. The need to fawn. Fawning is a very, very big problem. Like, without needing to please someone. Honest channels of communication are invariably helpful. So yeah, if there is one asset that needs to be reclaimed over and over again, it's honest communication. And yeah, it is, and also, contrary to popular belief, it is perfectly possible to be honest, respectful, straightforward, and polite without the need to please someone. And it isn't confrontation, as is thought in England. In fact, if anything, it's the opposite of confrontation, because there is an equality of exchange, because it is rooted in honesty and sincerity, so that nobody's intelligences are insulted, no one's left guessing. So, and which is profoundly helpful and helps for better mental health.